Hey YouTubers, RacermanXtreme here. So in today's video, I'm going to share what I got for Christmas with you guys. So it's going to make some of the things that were in the following video that I'm about to mention, it'll make a lot more sense now. If you guys remember in the dumbest PC build ever where I showed off a version of the Vostro when it was almost complete, I mentioned that I was going to be taking parts from it that I was just putting in it temporarily, and I was going to use them for a future project, and, well, here we are now. So the Vostro has been gutted of all the parts that I bought for it that I want to use in my second gaming PC. And then my second gaming PC is made up of the parts that were in the Vostro and most of my old system. My main rig is now hugely upgraded, so I'm going to show off all that stuff today. But first, let's actually take a look at the Vostro real quick. So, don't mind the external DVD drive just sitting there, but as you can see, the RX 570 is gone. This is the power supply that I showed off in the video. It's just a regular 500 watt power supply, nothing special. And then the 256 gigabyte SSD is in there. So, the reason why I'm bringing up the power supply is because I ended up buying a Cooler Master Masterwatt 650 semi-modular PSU, and it has enough power connectors for everything I need. It can even power the RX 570 pretty decently. It's got all 8 pins that it needs. So, anyway, that was in here for a little bit. There's also thermal paste finally underneath that processor for the past month. So, if you remember a year ago, I showed off this computer when I first brought it back. It had hardly any upgrades to it. It had the RAM and a working power supply. That one. And that was it. It couldn't do anything special. But now it can if you just give it a good graphics card. And it can do it while staying relatively chilled out. So anyway, I'm going to unveil what's inside of my main rig, because remember, we upgraded this, and we took all the old stuff and combined it with some stuff that was in there into a whole new build. So I'm going to show off that whole new build that you guys have never seen before. And before we show the new build off, let me tell you guys about what I did with the laptop. So, inside of the Dell Vostro, I have a 256 gigabyte SSD. It's an SU800 by ADATA. We ended up getting the 1 terabyte version, and I put Windows 10 on it, and now my laptop is now insanely fast for 2013. Anyway, let's go down a little bit more. I present to you the Roswell Spectra C100 with my old motherboard, my old processor, my old NVMe drive, my RX 570, the 650 watt power supply, and my old 32 gigabytes of DDR4. And it's also got my laptop's old mechanical drive in there, just for the sake of I don't feel like putting it in my main rig. But it is mounted into the back of it. So now this computer has 1.5 terabytes of storage. So this case was pretty decent to work with. Wasn't that hard to build in it. Now, if we take a look over here, I have a Crosshair 8 Hero with Wi-Fi as my motherboard in my new system. So now let me unveil my new rig. Now remember, the case, the graphics card, the power supply, and the majority of the drives that are separate from the motherboard, meaning I have a new NVMe drive. It's actually the 970 Pro, 1 terabyte, whereas my old computer, which is over here, inside of that new case as a new build, that computer has the 950 Pro, 512 gigabyte model. So, without further ado, let me show you the Behemoth 2. We have a Thermaltake Flow 360 Premium AIO, which cools the monster on the X570 platform. Underneath that cooler is where things get really interesting. That, my friends, is a Ryzen 9 3900X. 12 cores, 24 threads. And to make sure that I can utilize a lot of applications at once, you're looking at G-Skill 64 gigabytes of DDR4 at 3600 megahertz. And other than that, we have a heat sink that goes over the NVMe drive. We have the GTX 1080 from last time. We have the power supply from last time, 850 watts. And like I said, this is my old 6 terabyte. This is my new. This is my old 1 terabyte that I've had since 2016, December. And then these two are just old laptop drives that have some data on them that I find to be important, like old pictures and videos and stuff, you know, simple stuff. So now that I've shown you my gaming computer, let me talk about editing videos. So for the past few years, I've been using Vegas, and my newest version is Vegas 14, or so you think, because that's what I've been using for the past 2 going on 3 years. Well, that changes, because the thing is that Vegas has been improved so much in the last couple years that 14 is kind of obsolete. Like, I could understand if you're still using 16 or 15, but if you're using 14 or earlier, you should consider moving forward, because the GPU acceleration is really cool. It's very well done. The only complaint that I have is, for whatever reason, I could not re-render the fixed version of Restless Driver Season 1 Episode 3 Remastered, which was originally remastered in 2017, but it had some errors, and you know, I decided to go back and fix them now that I have a new computer that can do it really quickly. Or so I thought it could do it quickly. I had to tweak with settings a lot, and then finally I started looking up some things that I could do to get rid of the crashing, and I finally got it to just go through and be done. The end result was pretty good. You know, just looking at it, it looks like it should. You know, I upscaled it to 720 so that way YouTube would play it back at a higher bit rate. I fixed some of the audio that was bad sounding when I put the audio profile on it to make it sound better. It actually made some stuff sound worse, so I went in and fixed that. I also fixed the opening scene where it's just a bunch of text on the screen explaining that this remaster is unfortunately using the master copy instead of the original files, so it's not going to look like a true remaster. You know, because like with a true remaster, you want to have your original file so you can re-edit it from scratch and remaster it. Because when you create a video, you're making the master copy, and the point of a remaster, again, the point is to re-edit, recreate that master copy at a later date with all of your improvements. And because I had to remaster with the master copy, it kind of defeated the purpose of it, but I did do some edits to it that, like I said, were just limited to whatever the master copy looked like. So like I couldn't like move the face cam very much. I made it bigger, and like I said, I tweaked the audio and, you know, messed with stuff like that. But other than that, it's basically the same video, just it sounds better. Which isn't a bad thing, because it was a good video to begin with. But anyway, that's my only complaint with 17. To make sure that everything was working properly with Vegas 17, just with the settings that kept crashing when I rendered that giant project, because it was a 40-minute video, just to make sure that Vegas wasn't completely broken, and we're talking about 17 here, the newest one, I took the intro of Season 4 for Restless Driver, which is the project file. I opened it up, told it to render at 1080p 60, because I still have all the clips for it that it can pull and use to recreate the video. And it took a couple minutes to render, no big deal. You know, it's only a minute project. I don't care if it takes 5 minutes to render it, at least it'll look good at the end, you know? Because I'm sure my computer could probably render stuff like that in 30 seconds, but, you know, with the settings that I chose, it probably took a little longer because it's got to make sure that every frame looks fine. But it took a minute or two, maybe 5 minutes at the most. I was just getting ready for work, and it was done well before I had to leave, so that's all I really care about. It didn't crash. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I was working with low-res files and Vega 17 hates non-HD stuff. I don't even know. But bottom line, I did figure out what was causing it to crash constantly, and I was able to finally get the remastered copy of Season 1, Episode 3, well, redone with the fixes, and the rest is history. You can watch it online right now as soon as I make it public, which it'll be public. You know, you can go check it out. So, anyway, that's basically all I got for Christmas. Shoes, socks, stuff like that as well. So, anyway, I will catch you guys in the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Take care.